Welcome to George on Cars. Today, I've got a terrible video. In today's video, I'm going to tell you about a disastrous dealership experience that I had. But before we get to the video, I want to remind you that if you're enjoying the content on the channel, I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, as it helps the channel get some visibility, and it only takes a second. And by the way, if there's any content you want to see on the channel, let me know in the comments section below, or send me an email at georgeoncars@gmail.com, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, I'm being a little bit dramatic here, and I know that I'm overreacting to what happened. I've seen some of the videos of the horrible things that can happen while getting your car serviced. I've seen vehicles getting joyridden and wrecked. I've seen cars dropping off of lifts, and a host of other terrible things. Overall, what happened to my C5 while getting new tires put on wasn't the worst thing that could happen. But I'll tell you one thing, when the dealership called me and told me the car had been in an accident, I was hot. Here's a little background on the situation. I needed new tires for my beloved C5 Corvette, which I did a great video on, by the way. So I shopped around a bit, and even though I could get the exact same tires a little cheaper at a local tire store near my house, I decided that I would take my car to a GM dealer. My thoughts were that they work on Corvettes every day, and they know the lift points on the car and how to service it properly, since this is what they do day in and day out. I figured they would exercise a bit more care for my car than a local tire shop would. So, with that misguided thought in my head, I booked an appointment and dropped off my car early in the morning to have the tires put on. Several hours later, I get a phone call telling me the car is ready and that I can come pick it up. Then, on my way to the dealership, my phone rings again, and it's the service department. And I'm kind of surprised they're calling me again, because they just called me to tell me the car was ready. I answer the phone and greet them very cordially, asking them how they're doing. When they answer, "Not very good," I know I have a problem. They proceed to tell me that my car's been in an accident, and that someone was pulling out of a parking spot and clipped the front end of my car and damaged it. I ask the service advisor if he's joking, and he assures me that he is not joking, at which point I advise him that we have a big problem. Once I arrived at the dealership, I was greeted by service department personnel and walked over to my car, where the gentleman who clipped the front end of the car was waiting. Since he works for a large contracting company, he's there with his supervisor and health and safety team, and begins apologizing profusely to me for what he did. I'm also advised that he left the scene of the accident as he didn't know he hit my car. At this point, I'm waiting for the dealership to step up and take some ownership, but they basically tell me that this didn't involve dealership personnel and state that I'll have to work this out with the contracting company and their insurance. At this point, I ask to speak to the dealer principal, who comes over and advises me that this is like an accident at the mall or the grocery store parking lot, and that the dealership really isn't involved. I tell him the entire reason I brought my car to a GM dealer was I expected that they would take better care of my car while it was in their possession. To make a long story short, I was really disappointed how they handled the entire situation. They did, however, give me this video of the accident and a couple $100 off my tires. Now, I was told by the guy who clipped my car that he didn't know he hit it. Well, you can clearly see that he hits my car, drags it about 4 feet, and then backs up and leaves the scene of the accident. So where does this leave me? Well, I filed a police report and called my insurance company and brought the car to a repair shop not too far from my home. So far, the front fascia was scratched and the driver's side fender was cracked and needs to be replaced. The front wheel was also damaged and also needs replacing. Thankfully, no mechanical damage has taken place. For bodywork, paint, and all the parts, the quote is going to be just over $5,000. The good news is, since this accident wasn't my fault, I won't even have to pay the deductible. The bad news is, finding a new driver's side fender is almost impossible. So far, I've only found 2 in all of the US and Canada, and no one wants to ship them. Once the parts arrive, if I can get them, I'll document the repair process and share it in a video with you guys. Well, that's it. That's what happened to my C5 Corvette while getting new tires put on. Let me know in the comments section below if I'm overreacting or what you would have done in the same situation. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you soon.